Okay, welcome back to part 4 of the 5-part series on building and using the MacroSim models. Prior to this, we looked at the construction of the loanable funds model considered in isolation. Now we're going to add the loanable funds model to MacroSim 2 to MacroSim 1, to build MacroSim 2. So to remind us of where we've been, we found fault with MacroSim 1 because it did not include a financial sector. And because of that, budget deficits were always stimulating. They always increased GDP. There's no impact upon the finance markets because there are no finance markets in MacroSim 1. Investment was endogenous, and there's no Federal Reserve policy represented, like the ability to increase the supply of credit or reduce the interest rate. So MacroSim 2 adds a finance market by adding a special version of the loanable funds model, which we saw in part 3. In this model, the supply of funds consists of the sum of savings plus any increase in the money supply or credit produced by the Federal Reserve System, and the demand for funds consists of the sum of investment demand. All investment is borrowed in the context of this model, and the budget deficit, which actually in the real world is all borrowed. So let's take a look at the new variables we're adding to MacroSim 1 to make it into MacroSim 2. MS is going to represent the money supply, which is a stock. MSGR is going to represent the money supply growth rate, which is a policy variable that we can set or change. We can grow the money supply by 5% or 6% or 4%. And the delta, or change in the money supply, is the result of the money supply growing because of our change in the money supply growth rate. R, as before, is our interest rate. And again, investment is now a linear function of interest rates, and that is shown as positive. Savings is now a linear function of interest rates, and that is shown as negative. And those signs are backwards, so I have to stop this video and make it private because this is incorrect. It's too incorrect for me to leave it in here. What? Apologies if you're one of the two pioneers who see this video before I turn it to private. Are you sure you want to stop your live stream?